The first time I met India was when she was 17, and it brought me back to my thoughts of when I was 17. When I was 17, I was in a pregnancy situation as well, and I had a lot to think about at that point in time. When India was 17, how would you say you came to meet me?
I mean, I was just a clueless little 17-year-old, frantic that I got a positive pregnancy test. Not looking to continue this journey.
So you were not looking to continue your journey. I wasn't even thinking about the journey. So for me, I chose to abort my baby. What choice did you make?
I chose to keep my baby. Thanks to you.
Wonderful. So my journey impacted you in a positive way to keep your baby. But for me, at 17, I wasn't even thinking of keeping the baby. And my life changed in a very drastic way to the negative because of my choice to abort. How would you say your choice of life affected you?
My choice definitely took a turn that I couldn't have imagined in a positive way. Just stepping out on faith, I think.
Had I had the faith at age 17 to choose life, I might be in a different place, but I didn't. And now I'm able to meet people like you and share my story and hope that you choose life so you don't have to go through the torment that I went through.
I think it's really, on the way up here, as you told me that you might get a chance to tell your story, I had forgotten about our similar circumstances and that we were actually at the same age. And I just think that that's even more of a perfect picture of how God works. Like, there is no coincidence that you were the first person who I came to when I walked in the Akron Pregnancy Center looking for help, for guidance, and how he was able to bring us two together to, now share our story today to, if not help a couple people, maybe one person, with you not choosing life and me choosing life, but you were the one who helped me on that journey. And I just think it is so, I don't know. I don't even know the word for it.
I didn't know God at 17, but I met him when I was 19 and came to Akron Pregnancy Services. And I believe he had a story for you, for life for your son, way before we had any idea. But it took me choosing to abort my child to know how important life was, and that Akron Pregnancy Services makes a huge impact in the lives of girls, their dads, the babies' dads, and just the babies themselves.
And something, with you working at Akron Pregnancy Center and Sue working at Eva's clinic, you guys are both joint but different buildings at the time. I remember whenever I had Zahari, 2 months early, and he was in the NICU for 2 months. And I remember at home, and I'm like, "Hey, Sue, I had my baby." And she's like, "What? You weren't supposed to have him yet." And I'm like, "Yeah, where I had him." And I told her that I chose to keep him because I don't think I've ever seen Sue since our last conversation about me wanting an abortion. So I never got to tell her that, how Zahari got his name. And I told her, I was like, "Sue, you're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but God named Zahari." And I told her the story, and she said, "Now, India, you're not going to believe this, but I was in a whole different career before I came to Eva's Women's Health Clinic." She said, "I really didn't want to come, but I did." And she said, "I struggled with God." And I remember him, I feel like he told me that I was being sent there for a particular young girl. And she said, "India, I now think that young girl was you." And I just remember you can hear us both on the phone crying. And God, I think these pregnancy centers are not just some organization that someone just started up. It's an organization, it's a building, but the people that work in those buildings were handpicked, certainly, for what they were doing. And I definitely think you guys know what you're doing.
God chose us from totally different backgrounds to connect together to make an impact for the future. And I'm thankful that I was able to meet you and to see how God's going to change things for us.